What is going on, traders, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad to have you. Now in this video, I'm going to be going over my watch list for the trading week of May 2nd, 2022. Let's get to it. All right, once again, we have a full calendar of companies reporting. Now the ones that I'm going to be focusing on are the companies that have the ability to move 10, 15, or 20 or more dollars based on their earnings. So I'm going to be watching Avis, AMD, Moderna, Datadog, Shopify, and Block. Now I do have Lucid highlighted here. Even though it's sold off to the point where I know it won't move that much, I'm still interested in seeing what happens. Now if it does decide it wants to sell off massively, I will jump into it if it has enough volume. But overall, I'm just going to be a spectator on that one. All right, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the catalysts for this upcoming week. All right, some of the catalysts I'm going to be watching this week is the chip sector with ON Semiconductor and AMD reporting, the vaccine stocks like Moderna and Pfizer, the gambling stocks like DraftKings and Penn National Gaming, the Fed rate changes, and a lot of emotional trading this week. So those are the things that I'm going to be paying attention to. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with the watch list. All right, so the first thing we want to look at is the QQQ. Now, this is the index that tracks the majority of the tech sector, and here I have it pulled up on the daily chart. Now, I've been watching this level around $316.50 for quite a while, because you can see over the last few months, it's bounced off this level quite a few times. Now, if I zoom down to the 15-minute chart and take a look at this, on Tuesday, I put out a tweet saying that it was getting really close to this level, and let's see what's going to happen. And you can see on Tuesday, it broke all the way down through this level and got down to around $311. On Wednesday, it tested this level a couple times. And then on Thursday, it tested it again and bounced up. Now on Friday, it got to this level right here again and sold off. Now if I drew a line here, let's draw a line here. On the bottom of this right here. And then we zoom in on the 5-minute chart. Let's do that. Now you can see here that once it bounced off this thing quite a few times, as soon as it broke through right here on Friday, that was a good opportunity to get into a short on this one and ride it all the way down. And you don't necessarily have to ride the index, but you can ride any of your favorite tech stocks all the way down, even if it's a hedge against your long-term portfolio. If you're a long-term portfolio in NVIDIA or something like that, you buy puts so you can hedge against this sell-off. All right, so this is the first thing that I'm watching. I'm going to be watching this level again in this upcoming week. If it comes up and tests this $316 level and gets rejected, then yeah, I'm going to be watching this to come all the way back down under it and try to test around $300. So keep the QQQ and its levels on your watch list, and let's see what happens. Okay, the first stock we're going to be taking a look at is Avis Budget Group, ticker symbol CAR. Now here I have it pulled up on the daily chart. Now, for those who are unaware, when they had their earnings back in November of 2021, they had a massive beat, over $4 more than what the analysts predicted, and it did a nice squeeze from around $170 to over $500 in one day. And like a dope, I sat here and watched this happen and didn't jump in. But as you can see, it's sold off since then and got as low as around $140, okay? They did have another earnings that they did beat, but not as large as the one previous, so it didn't spike up as much. But keep this in mind when they report earnings after hours on Monday. Now I have several levels that I'm watching on this one, and each one of these levels represents a point of control or an area where buyers came in and bought the stock. So each one of these levels is a potential bounce point for this stock, okay? So let's look at the bullish scenario first. If they have a nice earnings and this thing decides it wants to run, the highest I see it getting to is around $320. Now from $267, $270 to $320, that's a $50 move, and that'll be a nice payday if you jump in on this one, okay? Now the bearish scenario, if the market just continues to sell off the way it has, The first level that I'm looking for it to hold is around $236, okay? If it can't hold that one, then it'll drop to 222, can't hold that one, 212, can't hold that one, 197, and so forth. The lowest that I see it getting is around $141. That would be $120 move. I don't see that happening, so that's why I have all of these other potential bounce levels on this stock, okay? So keep this one on your watch list and let's see what happens. All right, up next is Advanced Micro Devices, ticker symbol AMD. Now here I have it pulled up on the daily chart. Now AMD formed a head and shoulder. You can see this is a shoulder, this is a head, and this is a shoulder. Now once it formed this pattern, it did drop significantly since then. Now if I zoom in on this area right here, you can see that it tried to hold around $99.50. It bounced here, here, and around here. Now once it couldn't hold that level, it came all the way down to around $89. Now if I move up a little bit right here, you can see that it's consolidating between $85 and $89. It's playing around in this area right here. So it's possible that it could continue to drop until Tuesday's earnings after hours. And if it does, I'm looking for it to test around $73.75. It could come all the way down here either before earnings or if they give bad guidance or the market doesn't like their earnings. This is the level that I'm looking for it to hold. If I zoom back out, you can see in this area right here that several times it bounced off of this $73 level, several times. So this is a very strong support level for AMD, and I'm looking for it to hold that. Now, if it can't hold that, that would be crazy, but the next level that I'm looking at is around $60, okay? So keep that on your watch list. Now, on the bullish side, if AMD does give good guidance and it wants to buck the current trend of everything selling off, the highest that I see it getting is around $99.50, coming up here and then getting rejected back down again, okay? So keep AMD on your watch list and let's see what happens. Up next is Moderna, ticker symbol MRNA. Now here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart because the daily chart is just too choppy to see anything clearly. Now, as the world has opened, you can see clearly that a lot of people have lost interest in this stock. At one point, it was almost $500, but right now it's sitting at $134. Now, keep in mind that prior to COVID, this was a $15 to $20 stock. This is January of 2020. It was a $15 to $20 stock. So I'm curious to know how many people are still buying this at around $134, okay? Now, they do have earnings prior to market open on Wednesday, and if they do have good guidance or nice numbers and it decides to run, the highest I'm looking for it to go is around $172, okay? And from where it sits right now, that's almost a $40 move, and that would be a fantastic call to the upside. Now, if they report bad numbers or poor guidance and the market decides it wants to sell it off, I'm looking for it to drop all the way to around $100. And if it can't hold that, bounce or try to bounce at around 90. I wouldn't be surprised over time if it comes all the way back down to this consolidation area right here around $55, okay? So keep this on your watch list and play it to the upside or to the downside, whatever we see, all right? Up next is Datadog, ticker symbol DDOG. Now here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart here, and you can see I have this huge consolidation range of $20 right here. But once it broke through it, it tested it once, twice. Once it broke through right here, it became the new support for this stock around $120, okay? You can see it tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 6 times it's tested this level. So if they report good earnings, I'm looking for it to hold above this level and run up to around $131, $132. Now, if they report mediocre or average earnings, which they have done consistently, barely beating their projections, I'm looking for it to sell off down to almost $100. That'll be a nice $20 drop in the stock. So those puts would print nicely, okay? So these are the levels that I'm watching for this one. So keep it on your watch list and let's see what happens. All right, and the last one we're going to be taking a look at is Block, ticker symbol SQ. Now here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart, and you can see here it's been having a hard time with things since it hit its all-time high of around $290. Now it's struggling to hold around $99.50. Now I will say that its peer PayPal did report earnings last week. They beat on their earnings, and they had a green week last week despite the market sell-off. All right, so keep that in mind when Block reports their earnings. If they report earnings and they're great and they beat nicely, which they seem to do all the time, I'm looking for it to run up to around $120, okay? If it blows through that, the highest I'm looking for it to get to is this consolidation range right here where it got rejected prior of around $139, okay? Now, if they report poor earnings or average earnings, I'm looking for it to come down and test around $83.50. And if I scroll back, you can see this level, which was resistance, became support. All right, it tested it 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the past. So I'm looking for it to hold this $83.50 level. All right, so keep Block on your watch list and let's see what happens. And that is the end of the video. If you found value, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. Here's wishing you a prosperous week of trading. And until next week, talk to you later.